diving right into this one after the other set finishes, we got an Obsidian tier race between Ancalagor and Warachia. Immediate 3 bombs, always great to have some early bombs. A lot of utility with those. Easily pick up a build with a bit of extra bombs sometimes. Depends on the seed, of course. But seems like both these racers are just continuing to push. Tier 2 cracked wall. It will be a glass shop. The best items, can't really afford it either, but definitely can bomb. This is an interesting bomb for Warachia. Picking up chainmail levels of protection. And definitely does want the damage up, but not sure about a full-on kill. Still, this is Obsidian. A viable strategy in Obsidian is just to get an early build and then push, so... But Ancalagor opting for the glass build instead. Glass cat and glass armor will be pretty helpful. Warachia doing a throw. King Konga will not get Squeaka suited, as in black there will be Old Faithful, which will go great with the Boots of Strength that he already has. Right now, Ancalagor has a very fast but flimsy weapon. They are checking purple for a freer scroll. But Warachia has a pretty decent build, and much less flimsy than Ancalagor, but despite being flimsy, if Ancalagor can keep this build up, it's going to be very fast. It's definitely not going to be easy though, but doing a good job of it so far. 3 moles coming in for Ancalagor, dealing with that very well. An army of moles can become pretty tricky to deal with, but bonking against them, making sure they get out of the underground. Though technically the entire crypt isn't underground, but under the ground of the underground. And Ancalagor definitely gotta keep this, trying to find spells to bolster this up. Warachia's build is 2 chickens on Warachia's end. We'll take one of them and go, along with eating the carrot, as both racers are now on the same floor. Ancalagor has a potion, but probably isn't gonna plan to take hits anyways, but going the wrong way for Ancalagor, proven to be pretty fruitful, finding a ring of peace inside a peace shrine. Overall, Ancalagor definitely comfortable enough to run this build. Not allowed to really push as aggressively as they probably would like, because they are running a glass build, but glass builds do have their own benefits. Warachia swapping off to Ring of Piercing, very good ring to get right before Zone 4. Blade Masters can become tricky, and we have a Conjurer on Warachia's 4-1. We'll pick up Obsidian or a decent amount of safing up here. And Ancalagor will go down to the same floor. It's pretty much even. It's a battle between the glass build and Old Faithful, with additional goodies as well. Very good early kill then. It's proven to be a good kill for Warachia. And Heart Transplant for Warachia as well. We'll be able to speed through the rest of this floor once you keep the chicken. As Ancalagor shortly behind finds Freeze Spell. That's a pretty big thing to miss out on Warachia's end. As Ancalagor is about half a floor behind Normal Monkey on Warachia's, and it costs a bit of time, but looking pretty good for Warachia and Ancalagor as well. Hopping off the glass build to still a cat, and not having the worst damage with it either. Freeze Spell is gonna allow Ancalagor to take the lead here. We have a race. Warachia taking a hit, not being able to check any chests. We'll have to run with whatever they got. But Freeze Spell might just come in, prove extremely helpful for Ancalagor here. That Freeze Spell is gonna go off quite a bit. So there are less enemies with Freeze, still going to get a lot of some pretty speedy spell recoveries in Zone 5. We have an easy freeze for Ancalagor. That freeze is huge, actually. Just Warachia missing it by a tiny bit, and Warachia trying to push back. Down to half a heart. Definitely not an enviable position, as Ancalagor does some kind of off the rails Japanese strats. There are no chests for Ancalagor. I think looking for bombs as Warachia goes down. Trying to make that deficit. Not getting the freeze spell that was pretty much right there. If they have gone slightly further down, they would have been able to get it, but it wasn't meant to be, it seems. That was huge pickup on Ancalagor. It ended up being very big. Nonetheless, that in combination with the Ring of Peace and a very speedy weapon, Ancalagor was able to pull ahead with all of those coming together. Oh, Ancalagor going down to 1 heart. It's definitely not over yet. Warachia is still going as well, making sure to get in a good position in case anything horrible happened. But that will be GG for Ancalagor with an 8:22 race room time. Speedy races for speedy racers. First loot will be rewarded to Ancalagor. This is Obsidian tier after all. So we get ready to go on to our next race. Very interesting build divergence in that first seed, I would say. Ancalagor just running with the Glass Cat, and that's Ancalagor's build, but then swapping off to something even better when they find it. Very legitimate strategies, just to run glass until he can find something that can replace it. At this level, at least. Given the fast-pacedness. Warachia immediately taking the glass jaw. This is a commitment. Ancalagor spending a bit of extra time to also snag some items out of this blood shop. And taking the glass jaw as well. We have 2 Glass Jaw takes. I'm not sure. Glass Jaw is great benefits, but yeah, going from 1 to 2 damage is pretty big. But it is the Glass Jaw, you know what the Glass Jaw does. It looks like a pawnbroker for Warachia, and just running up and selling the Glass Jaw right away. I don't think there's a Glass Jaw bounty. Warachia had the chance to pulse to finish off this Minotaur a bit faster here. But won't land that pulse, and Ancalagor also swapping off the Glass Jaw. Very likely that was a mistake on both of these racers. Just a 1-beat reaction. And what's inside the crate? Oh, it's a Glass Jaw. I know that happened to me and my opponent before, where we both picked up Glass Jaw. I think it was against Sivir. But some pretty good build parity. Ancalagor double dipping the Spring of Pain in order to get the Obsidian Spear. Purchasing the items a bit out of order there. But oh, some good pushing on Warachia's end, being 1 hit away from death. Not exactly the safest thing to do. But definitely good push. Blood Drum use for Ancalagor to finish off Death Metal very quickly, and there will be an excellent ring. Spending a bit of extra time to screen watch and see what it is will be very much worthwhile to check Purple. Now, both of these racers should be in a pretty comfortable spot to just push. Ancalagor having a bit of armor in the form of the helmet, and Warachia having the chainmail. Still, there definitely could be improvements to both of these builds. Don't diverge by that much, but small divergences can definitely add up to a lot over time. And that is a food shop for Warachia. We'll crack that open. There's a secret shop as well. And Ancalagor spending the time to check the super secret shop, giving up their armor for a bit of extra damage, for a pretty significant amount of extra damage, actually. They're gonna be doing quite a bit. Usually 6, unless they get hit. Should be enough to wipe out most enemies, as Warachia finishes off Fortissimo. Checks Purple for Ring of Shielding. Definitely hoping for some spells there. But very comfortable health situation for Warachia. Good blood drum use out of Warachia to help bolster the lack of damage. So 3 damage is not bad at all. 3 damage is actually pretty high, even if it is temporary. Nonetheless. Actually, Spike Gears is... I don't even know. Is it +2 or +3? I don't know. I just had a sudden feeling that I might have been wrong. Yeah, it's +2. Okay, I am wrong. Thank you, JPad. But a few hits coming out for Warachia here. Regen should help band-aid that right back up. And Ancalagor getting blocked by hot coals in a chest. Nonetheless, 5 damage on Ancalagor's end. Not gonna be too much more helpful than just having the 3 damage from just Obsidian, and there's an evil shopkeeper for Warachia. Not worth the time to check that. Risk Charm for Warachia as well. Likely won't come into play, but nonetheless, might as well take it. Ancalagor pushing very aggressively, has 11 bombs, it's just gonna walk around that one to save a bit of time. Handling that surround situation very well on Ancalagor's end. Using the Goblin Bomber too to help dish out damage. But with regen, both of these racers able to push very aggressively. Just base tanking hits left and right here on Warachia's end. Blood magic too. A lot of health to work with. And we have a blood drum kill for deep blues. Warachia will skip the chests, and Ancalagor is too close behind. Needs to get going. It looks like Ancalagor also picked up a chainmail from somewhere, but from a different location. So these builds are just converging for some reason. A very fast weapon for Warachia. A bit late for that to make that much of a difference for Ancalagor though. We're seeing continued good uses out of Pulse and other spells for both of these racers, as expected at this tier of racing. Another great Pulse for Warachia. On to Dead Ringer, cannot do Oblivion, but it will be a right side Dead Ringer spawn, allowing Warachia to opt for the easy left side scoots. And going on to the Necrodancer. Ancalagor. That is not a Titanium Cat on Ancalagor's end. We have some seed variants, how fun. But Warachia, given the time to finish off this Necrodancer fight. I do not know. I think both of these racers took Darkness. And Ancalagor goes down, dropping the damage. And Warachia has more than enough health to finish this off. With a race from time of 8:23. Currently 1-1. Last point is still up for grabs though. We prepare for Lost Seed. Ancalagor is asking, where did you find the cat? It was a blood rapier for Ancalagor somehow. I don't know. But let me refill my water once more. Anywho, we are starting on our third seed. Maybe there was variance because they got luck at different times. That is possible. Seed variance is weird, and I am far from an expert on that subject. I do believe both of these racers have articles on, so Ancalagor opting to go for the Leprechaun here. Bats were pretty cooperative, except for that one, but that one uncooperative bat got slaughtered, so we don't talk about that bat. But early Bloodshot kill will give these racers an obsidian flail to work with. And an arena on Warachia's side, there is a bomb spell, which will be the choice out of this arena. Warachia also opting to get Leprechaun here. Some pretty strong build convergence here. And Warachia will likely bomb this as well, using the bomb spell. There we go. Only thing Ancalagor is missing is the arena. Interesting kill for Ancalagor here. For a heart container, obsidian staff, and a magic apple. We'll just eat the apple downright. It is War for Warachia. And also Ring of Luck. Definitely don't want to switch to that. But Ancalagor swapping off to Obsidian Staff. Builds are starting to re-diverge after converging for a bit. But a bit of extra time spent on Zone 1 for both of these racers, but picking up a solid set of items on both ends. Very fast 2-1 once again. It's not as short as the one we saw earlier where the exit was like actually 5-6 tiles away from the spawn point, but still very fast 2-1. Last shot on Warachia's end. This will be a kill. Not taking last shot this time. We have a glass build. Continued build divergence here. Both racers opting to leave the Obsidian Flail behind. Obsidian Flail not a bad weapon, but at this level of racing, it's definitely not the fastest. And we have a synchronization down to death metal. Pretty much the same thing done on both racers' ends with their different respective weapons. Ancalagor checking purple for a pretty big spell in the form of the heal spell, but Warachia will swap off glass to Old Faithful. So right now Ancalagor has a pretty good build for the time being, but Warachia picking up Move Dig. Ancalagor definitely wants a piece of that. He's gonna spend a bit of extra time making the transmog happen. And some pretty big hits on Warachia's end. There will be some Cursed Heart containers though. Shopkeeper dead for Ancalagor. But nonetheless, still cuts through the shop. Warachia having a very, very slight lead here. Can evaporate very quickly. Difficult choice to check or not here. But Warachia checking and it will pay off. It is a fireball spell. Bit of a situation with that Blade Master for Warachia. Hoping to find some healing of some sort as a Conjurer on Ancalagor's end. Going to conjure up Blast Helm, which will speed up the Necrodancer fight. And also, here is a spot where Blast Helm can definitely help for Ancalagor. We're getting full surrounded on Goo, but a quick Blast Helm will alleviate them from that situation. Meanwhile, Warachia having to take a pretty roundabout path to the exit instead of mashing through the swarm with the Blast Helm bombs. And picking up a free damage up on Ancalagor's end. would be helpful for Warachia to pick that up as well, but Warachia is going down to low health. No way to get it back. Ancalagor will pull ahead pretty decisively here. As dig out King Konga and line up some staff hits with the Blood Drum. So Warachia being left in the dust here. Still putting up a fight though. But this late and this much of a difference is going to be hard to surmount given the pace Ancalagor is running at and the resources that Ancalagor has. Onto Dead Ringer, we have fast left side scoots for Ancalagor. Will go extremely well. As Blast Helm on the Necrodancer, and this gap is just too much for Warachia to overcome, spending way more time on Zone 4, not having the resources to push as hard as Ancalagor did. Two Dire Bat spawns on Ancalagor's end, how fun. Warachia making it down to Dead Ringer. This is a bit of a fight for Ancalagor, but they will manage to finish it off. Or race from time of 8:05. GG's. Set of very close races, very fast races as well, as expected from Obsidian Division races.